Hello, greetings, welcome, willkommen. It is I, Alsvoid. I'm here to do what I said I was going to do, and that is a Q&A Avec wine. However, it has now been approximately 30 minutes of me attempting to do this video. And I'm now drinking water. So that's how this is going, and we're just gonna dive right in, because I just can't. I'm just, I don't drink often, and clearly I shouldn't, so let's just get right to this. Here we go. Alright. Question number 1. What was your first reaction when you found out you got a shout out from PewDiePie? Okay, so I'm driving. This is my second day home from Florida. I'm driving home from Starbucks from getting a latte, because I'm a pretentious asshole like that. And all of a sudden I started getting a ton of followers on Instagram, and I'm like, this is fishy. Why so many people are subscribing to me or following me? I don't know. And then all of a sudden I start getting messages from my followers telling me that PewDiePie has featured me or my channel in a video, and I'm like, no, pish posh, that's bullshit. Not a damn chance. And then somebody actually links me to the video and gives me the timestamp of it. And I'm watching it and I'm just like, what? I don't even know, like, he's just, I don't even know how to tell you how I reacted. I was just really, like, shocked and amazed, I think, that someone with such a massive following could be conscious whatsoever of a channel like mine that had 14,000 subscribers. I mean, it just like blew my mind. And on top of that, I mean, I don't follow his content religiously, but I've checked it out on occasion. I think he's really funny, and I think he's really handsome. And embarrassingly, the one thing I think I've ever commented on a PewDiePie video is like, "You're a handsome prince," or something ridiculous. Alsvoid attempts to flirt. So yeah, so that's embarrassing. That's super embarrassing, but very, very humbling and flattering to know that he watches my content and really enjoys it. Sorry guys, it's the wine, don't judge me. But okay, in all seriousness, the best thing about it though is that the reason I know who PewDiePie is from my younger sisters. I have a sister that's 17 and one that's 19. And so the first thing I did was call my sister Lauren, who's 19, and I was like, yo, you'll never guess who featured me in a video. And I told her it was PewDiePie, and she just started screaming. Like, she just lost her mind. And then when I got home, my other sister was at home, and I told her, and she also just, like, no words, lost her mind. So really, I think while all of the subscribers, greetings, hello, welcome, that are here now because of PewDiePie, well, that's like amazing and wonderful, and I'm really happy to have the exposure for the channel. The best thing about it was my sister's reactions. It was the best. So PewDiePie, if you watch this, I think you're a really cool person. I think you're a really handsome person, but I think you're a really cool person, because, the whole context of the video, to my understanding, that he posted is that people have had this crazy campaign going about, like, trying to get him more subscribers, and because of that, he chose to make a video doing, like, his PewDiePie news, but also instead of focusing on people getting him more subscribers, to highlight smaller channels that he thought would be, more apt to get more subscribers. And I think that's just, like, a solid human thing to do. And I will be sure in the future to pay it forward and feature smaller channels on my channel and do the same thing. It's like when you go through Tim Hortons and somebody buys your coffee who's ahead of you, it's like, I'm gonna hit you back. Fuck. Somebody told me I should smile more in my videos, so I hope I hope this wine is gonna give you your Alf's smile fix. So yeah, so that's that. So shout out to PewDiePie. Welcome to everybody who is here because of him. It's very cool, and just, you know, what a solid human. I don't know what a bro fist is, but I've had about 2,000 comments saying bro fist, so I'm guessing that's a PewDiePie thing, and I'm just gonna, like, pound that bro fist. Maybe just one more sip. Okay. Okay, bitch, that's enough. Okay, so with that being said, let's move into the rest of our Q&A. So as per usual, as per standard, one of the perks of being one of my patrons is that you get your questions answered in the Q&As and answered first. So the first thing we're gonna do is answer our patrons' questions. So the first question I've actually put into three related questions, you know, makes it all sort of fit together, form together, so on and so forth. Okay, let's get to the three. Number one. 1A, let's say, 1A, please discuss and analyze political correctness and free speech. 1B, what do you think about the concept of deplatforming? 1C, will you be sticking with Patreon given the recent debacle, or are you considering a new support site? Okay, so let's 1B. So with deplatforming, I think the whole occurrence of deplatforming, this, you know, continuation of it, this ongoing happening of deplatforming creators and people on YouTube and Patreon is really indicative of the extent to which certain ideologies have gained prestige and power in business. Well, I should say not only in education, but also in business and in enterprises. So for example, Sargon of Akkad was recently deplatformed on his Patreon because of something he said in a video. And another YouTuber I really like who made compilations of like feminists and people acting, you know, very ideologically motivated and crazy. He recently got deplatformed on YouTube, got his channel taken down. I got a message from him on Patreon because I'm one of his patrons that to withdraw your support because the channel's gone now. And then there's also, I believe, like Alex Jones got deplatformed from YouTube. So like, you know what I mean? There is an assault on alternative thinking people. Like, well, Alex Jones is a little bit crazy for me. Is it right for him to be deplatformed? That's the question here. Like, is it right for Sargon to have his revenue taken away? Is it right for Social Geographic to be completely deplatformed from YouTube? Because he doesn't even say anything in his videos. You know what I mean? Like, he just makes compilations. He doesn't say shit. I mean, he has some aggressive titles on those videos, but he doesn't say a damn thing in those videos, really. He just makes compilations for you to be able to see crazy behavior and judge it for yourself. That's what I really liked about his channel. And so, I think it's really messed up. I mean, the thing with Sargon, I mean, what happened with Sargon is that basically he was in, to my understanding from his most recent video, he was in a debacle with white nationalists and used some of their own lingo against them, calling them white N-words. And so it's for that reason, using the N-word to insult someone, that he was deplatformed on Patreon. And like, well, I myself personally consider there to be no good reason ever to use the N-word, even, you know what I mean, like, bitch, that's not something I'm gonna say to anyone ever. Just, you don't need to say it. You don't need to. Like, you know how people feel about it. You know the historical context. Well, it's just a word, like, don't say that shit. Anyways, well, that's my opinion on it. I get where he was coming from. He wasn't saying it because he genuinely was calling someone that word. He was trying to use a group that was attacking him, using their lingo against them. So, like, I think that in the context of deplatforming, you'd think that at least, like, if Patreon's gonna take his channel or take his support away, that at least consider the context in which a word was uttered take into account that context in which it was said, rather than just the meaning of that one word itself. So I find that pretty troubling, you know what I mean? Like, it's not good. It's not looking good for free speech. Anywhere you look, it's free speech laws, free speech with business. It's being heavily influenced by ideology penetrating these places. It's emerging, coming out of the school, coming out of the universities, I should say, and fucking hitting people. And like I said, like, while Alex Jones is a little bit geeky for me, should he be deplatformed? I don't think so. Like, should Social Geographic be deplatformed? Absolutely not. Like, my policy, which I think is a lot of people's policy, is that even if what somebody has to say is retarded, like ridiculous, stupid, racist, whatever it is, they should still be able to say it, to subject it to the court of public opinion, in order that if that opinion is absurd, people can dive into it and point out the absurdities. You know what I mean? Like, so for me, I'm not down with this shit. I'm not down with it at all. And so the last question in relation to those things is, will you be sticking with Patreon given the recent debacles, or are you considering a new support site? Honestly, I can't see someone like myself getting deplatformed on Patreon, but then there's also, like, the moral question of, given what Patreon's doing to other people I like, am I willing to keep giving them my business and my support? I don't know. I mean, I'd like to say no, but at the same time, I put a lot of effort into getting the amount of patrons I have, and I think I'm gonna have to consult with them and see what they want and see if they're willing to set up new accounts, and you know what I mean? Like, I'm gonna have to have a conversation with my patrons because they support this channel. I am accountable to them in some capacity, so like what they want to do matters significantly to me, and I'm definitely, in light of these things, going to be opening up a dialogue with them about this. Question number 2. What is your personality type on the Myers-Briggs scale? So I understand that these scales are like, I'm not so sure with the legitimacy of them, but I did take the test once. Took it twice, actually, because to my understanding, one of the ways to determine whether a psychological test is accurate or somewhat valid is if one tests the same or has the same result on the test over time. And I've taken the test 2 or 3 times now, and every single time I get, like, over the space of time, and I've gotten INTJ on the Myers-Briggs. So, and I read the whole thing it gives you after you take it. Freakishly accurate. Like, I know it's kind of like a little horoscopy, you could argue that, like in the sense that it's general, but I don't know. My sister also did it, and I read hers, and none of that stuff was me. I was like, no, I don't feel that. But the one that I read, I was like, that's frightening. I have some personal issues I need to work on. Okay, do you listen to podcasts? Which ones? I'm gonna be real with you, I only listen to one podcast, and that is Joe Rogan. Who does not love Joe Rogan? Like, point me to a bitch that doesn't love Joe Rogan, and fuck that person. Okay, guys, don't judge me for my vulgarity. I've consumed alcoholic beverage. Question number 4. Stoicism requires detachment, which was thought to bring consistent happiness. Detachment today, however, is heavily associated with being depressed. Depression equals happiness? ? Are people depressed just not detached enough to be happy, or are Stoics too attached enough to not be depressed? So I think the question we're asking here, to summarize that in my wine mind, is Stoicism requires some degree of detachment. However, detachment is a symptom of depression, so therefore, does depression equal Stoic version of happiness? Something along those lines. And I think my answer to that question is, in Stoicism, right, it's not necessarily detachment you're looking for. What you're doing in Stoicism, or the kind of detachment you're referring to when you think about Stoicism or when you read Stoicism, is the detachment of realizing what you're in control over and what you're not. And then therefore putting your emotion and your feeling only towards those things which you have control over, right? So that requires, for example, you don't have control over other people, therefore you should endeavor not to worry too much about other people. So in some capacity, that's detachment, but I don't think it's an unhealthy detachment related to depression. I think training yourself to be able to be less moved by things that negatively affect you, that are out of your control, should serve to make you happier. I think that the detachment we think of when we think of depression is more like I'm apart from the world. I have nothing anchoring me to the world. I have nothing for which I should live. I have no principles to stand on. I don't have that stoic dichotomy of directing my attention and endeavors and feelings. I have nothing. I have the world is pointless. I have my life is pointless. That's not stoicism. That is not stoicism. Okay, those are very, very different things. So detachment, although both in some capacity have detachment, I think we're talking about different kinds of detachment. You know what I'm saying? You're picking up what I'm laying down? Okay. Number 5. When it comes to the future of Western societies, are you more of an optimist? Brackets, will we solve most of our problems? Thank you, I know what an optimist is. Or a pessimist? Brackets, will it go downhill? You're cute. You're hella cute. Okay, I am a pragmatist. I think that we will always oscillate between the ups and the downs. We'll have our goods, we'll have our bads, but I think ultimately, I think we'll be okay. Like, I think Western society will sort out its issues, right? So as much as you may think that Western society is on a heavy decline with, for example, these issues of free speech, deplatforming, the permeation of enterprise with ideology, not just permeation of education with ideology, as much as you may think that all those things are like degrading and weighing down Western civilization, you also have all of these people on YouTube and all of these people on other platforms speaking out against it. You also have people like Jordan Peterson, U of T, one of the biggest schools in Canada, professor speaking out against these issues. So I think in a very Hegelian sense, there will always be a continual dialectic between the dichotomies of positions within our culture, and that these dichotomies will always eventually lead to sublation, to change, to difference. To self-resolution in some capacity. That's at least my opinion. So I wouldn't say I'm, like, could you say that's optimistic? Maybe you could argue that's an optimist position, but I think it's more pragmatic. Or since it's Hegel, fuck it, maybe it's idealist, I don't really know. But that's my position, so let's move on. What do you think of Justin Trudeau? I think he's possibly one of the most cringy people to ever exist. Like, can we all just take a second to remember that scene where someone asked him something about mankind, and he's like, we say humankind. Or no, he didn't even say humankind. He's like, we like to say people kind. Mic drop. Woke cringe. I mean, bleh. My educated opinion on Justin Trudeau is bleh. Step aside, peasant. Number 7, do you think is possible, nice grammar there, bitch, do you think it's really possible to change, or do you think change is really possible? Do you think it is possible to really change? Yes, I do. I think that the entirety of your existence is a process of continual change, from the, particles that make up your body and your brain itself. I think is always in a state of ongoing change. You're changed by all of the new experiences you have, all of the new things you do, all of the new people you meet, all the new things you read. I think you're on a continual trajectory of change. However, I think that there are a lot of people who don't continue along that trajectory. A lot of people who eventually just stop learning, stop having new experiences, stop going out of their way to make new things happen that facilitate change for themselves. And I think it is those people who do not change. I mean, I don't know, I remember there's one course I had in, I think it was Indian philosophy in my 3rd year of university, and the professor was trying to get us to say, what part of you is the same? Like, can you point out to to him, what part of you is exactly the same as it was when you were born, or when you were 13, or when you were 14? Like, what is it? And the argument he was making from a Buddhist perspective is that it's nothing. Like, there's nothing substantive there for you to grasp that is the same. I mean, the point with Buddhism, though, is that there's nothing there at all. But so now we're moving on to our non-patron questions. Number 8. What is your master's thesis about? My master's thesis is concerning industrial disasters, specifically on preventative measures for preventing industrial disasters. So I'm looking at various historical industrial disasters, what causes led to them, and what we could implicate nationally or globally in order to better safeguard against those disasters and the devastation that is brought on by them. And I will ideally be done by next Tuesday. Number 9. Cars, sports, video games, ? Cars, don't give a shit. Literally nothing has ever mattered to me less in my life than, like, what cars look like. I cannot relate to you. Sports, also feel nothing, except for I love lacrosse. Fun fact about Alsvoid, I played on a all-boys house league team. Like, technically it was unisex, but there were no girls other than me and my friend signed up for the house league. So I played lacrosse for a season, and it was awesome, and I had a really great time, and I still love it. I would still play it. I love lacrosse. Video games, I once had an Xbox, and I only ever played Halo 3, and I wish I still had that Xbox to play Halo 3, but I sold it for tickets and, like, bus tickets to be able to see the band Title Fight in Toronto when I was, like, 16, so rip Icebox. Fucking wine. Xbox. Number 10. Is masturbation bad for you mentally? Does it make you more socially awkward? Are you less likely to interact with other people? Or is it a good way to control your physical needs? Well, I'm fairly certain that that's a guy asking that question, and so far as I know, male versus female sexuality is very different, in the sense that, to my knowledge, men are constantly producing, like, mass amounts of sperm every single day that they need to release, which thus makes them more, H-word, and women just, like, I guess can go longer, perhaps, without feeling the same urges, although women and men, to my understanding from recent studies, do think about sex just as much. I do think it's... my point here. I think it's maybe more important, actually, for men to masturbate consistently, to, have that outflow of the mass production of their sperm. But also for women, is masturbation bad for you mentally? No. I don't think it's bad for you in any capacity. I mean, if you're looking at, like, some rough porn, like some dark stuff, then maybe it's not so great to be feeding, darker sexual desires. But if you're, like, got some little fetishes that aren't too harmful, then I think there's nothing at all wrong with it. I think it's absolutely good for you. I mean, even if, let's say, you have, like, maybe more perverse sexual desires, it might even be a good idea for you to try to force, if possible, watching things that are less perverse. Like, I'm talking, like, real perverse stuff, like, to, like, train yourself by watching other stuff while, beating the meat, to be less attracted to the very bad stuff and more to the good stuff. And possibly the other part of the question was, do you think that'd make you more awkward and less likely to interact with other people? Well, if you are watching stuff that's super perverse, then that might make you a little awkward, but if you train yourself to watch something that's a little less perverse, but still provocative, attractive, good for you. Like, good for you. Then that would probably make you not awkward and, just, like, freed of those things. Maybe. I don't know. I'm not a man. I think this is, like, a man specialty thing, which I don't really have, because I'm not a man. But masturbation, it's good. Do it. You know what I, like, low-key thought would be, like, interesting to do, but obviously can't do it on YouTube, is do a porn review. Like, let's just watch porn videos and just, analyze them for fun. I would do it. I don't know what avenue I could do that on, but I would do that. I don't know how that will affect me in the future, but perhaps we'll do it. Anyways, point of that. Point of that. Masturbate. Don't feel bad about it. Do what you gotta do. Let it out. Especially if you're not able to have sex regularly. Don't feel shameful about that. Do what you have to do. Okay. Question number 11. What advice for someone who is rarely happy but has no reason to be happy? Like, what advice would you give someone who is rarely happy but has no reason to be unhappy? Well, that's what I've thought about with myself a lot, and I don't really think it's normal or natural to just be happy all the time. Like, existence is miserable and suffering. Why would you be happy all the time? I mean, you're a human being that's fragile and delicate, riddled with existential dread, unanswered questions. Why the hell would you be happy all the time? It's not normal. If you're happy all the time, like, you're fucking Post Malone. I don't know who you are, but it's not normal. No, my real answer to the question is I don't think that happiness is an ideal to be every single day, every second of every day. I don't think that makes any sense at all. I think a more reasonable thing, I don't think you need advice, really. I think the thing for you to do is to maybe think more about how to be content. You know what I mean? I think there's a difference between happiness and contentment, and that it's not quite normal for you to just be walking around happy all the time, but I think the better thing for you to try to endeavor to master is to be content, you know what I mean? So I wouldn't worry too much if you're not walking around happy all the time. I promise you, fam, we're in this together. I'm not walking around happy all the time either, unless we've got, a cup of wine. Even still, I'm pretty stressed out, but let's continue. Number 12, what do you think about MGTOW? So we've discussed this before. I'm pretty sure this has come up, in my other videos. But my latest piece to say about MGTOW is I think that it is sad that there are so many men out there who have been so mistreated or so put off or disgusted by an average of female behavior that they literally want to leave women behind other than pumping and dumping. So I'm not really gonna put that on them in any negative way necessarily. I think rather it exists for a reason, and that reason is female behavior. And I think that a lot of women, like even me a long time ago, would be like put off by those videos that MGTOW makes, and or the red pill videos, like Alexander Grace interviews, I think it is, red pill interviews. Or no, put it this way. Go and watch Alexander Grace or red pill interviews of women and observe the answers those women give to those questions. And that, I think, gives you the answer to why MGTOW exists. Because as women, I think, you want to think that, oh yeah, we're not so bad as a group, we don't do bad stuff, we don't have, faulty, double standard perceptions. But then I think the reality when you get red pilled or you watch red pill interviews, Alexander Grace, is, oh shit, no, there's a lot of women with immense, disgusting double standards, and it's really disturbing, and it's no wonder that MGTOW exists. That's my perspective. Number 13. What are your thoughts on human consciousness and whether or not morals are inherited, taught, or learned? I think that those are two different questions. What do you think about human consciousness versus what do you think about morals? What do I think about human consciousness? I think it's absurd. I think the whole of existence is positively absurd. Moving on. Do I think that morals are inherited, taught, or learned? I think that morals are inherited in the sense of from family members and from your general culture and existence, therefore taught, and therefore also learned. I think those are all really the same thing you're asking me. There's no difference between inherited, taught, and learned. But moreover, I think they emerge, in my opinion, from selfishness or from self. That is, I don't want you to steal from me, therefore I won't steal from you. I don't want you to aggress upon me, therefore I won't aggress upon you. I actually got into when I was in Florida, me and my mom got into a big conversation about this, and she was trying to argue that human conscience is proof of God. don't judge me, don't judge me. She's my mom. Don't judge my mom too harshly. But she was trying to argue that conscience is something over and above human consciousness, that it's something implanted within us from a higher power. And I just, I'm like, Mommy, you don't really have the support for that you're looking for. I see what she's saying. It seems like that. Like, it seems like we have this higher consciousness, this endowment of morality from something high and above that's just too good for us. But no, I think it comes from our individual experience, our evolutionary experience. And that is, I don't want you to do something bad to me, and therefore I won't do something bad to you. And then, but at the same time, I think maybe from that, or maybe separate from that, is that as human beings, for whatever reason, we do have some sense of the good being good in itself, right? That there is something which is right and moral and virtuous, and that in itself carries a good weight. Like, for you to do something good unto someone else it gives you a good feeling, you know what I mean? Like, you donate something, you volunteer somewhere, you help someone with something, you know what I mean? You just feel good about it. So, I don't know. I'm not God, honey. I don't have all the answers. So let's just continue. Number 14. Do you ever believe that communism is going to get back on its feet? No, I don't. That's a really... Honey, I'm not going to say it's a dumb question. There are no stupid questions, there are only stupid answers. That's what my favorite philosophy professor used to say. So I guess the burden's on me here. No. I think capitalism and the power of business is immense. The power of capitalism and the power of business is too great, too far spread. There's no goddamn way that communism is making any kind of comeback anytime soon. It's not gonna happen in the Western world. The people of business, the people of capital, they have too much power. You've got way too much influence on the other side. It's just like, you can pretend that's a fear and like something scary and gonna happen, but it's like little esoteric scholars in university that are plotting the comeback of that, and like, I'm sure they're not gonna have any luck. That's just delusion. Okay, number 15. How can I handle failure after failure after failure in my life recently? Bad grades in university, parents threatening to take me out, not doing too well in soccer, bad social life, got into a car wreck, and my GF broke up with me 4 days later. In brackets, my fault though. I think that the best solution to dealing with failure is analyzing why you failed. So when it comes to your bad grades in university, why are you getting bad grades? Are you spending enough time with your studies? Like, are you authentically giving it everything you have, or are you procrastinating on Netflix? Like, what are you doing? And if you are giving it everything you have, well then maybe it's time to reach out for a tutor or for some extra help. And then when it comes to, where are we here? Not too doing well in soccer, I mean, maybe you need to spend extra time training. Bad social life, maybe you need to make the effort to go out and meet more people. My point here is that for any problem you have, any negative problem in your life, I think the answer is to ask why that is happening to you, and then therefore what can you do to overcome it or change it? What can you do to overcome your situation? I mean, unless you're ready to just lay down and die and kill yourself, there's always a path forward. There's always something you can ask yourself or something you can do to make things better. You're never fully stuck. So analyze your situation and you will eventually overcome it, but life is strife, life is suffering, it will take time, it will take dedication, and it will take perseverance, but if you're well-intentioned and you believe in yourself, then I believe in you, and I'm sure you'll get better. Number 16. What are your thoughts on couples choosing not to have children? If there is disagreement between man and woman on that topic, let's say a man does not want to have children, how could that affect the relationship? How the outcome of this disagreement could change if woman is the only one who does not want to have children. Okay, guess what? Yeah, I feel what you're saying, but you haven't worded it so well there. I think this is a simple answer, and that is, if both of them don't want to have children, great, you're perfect for each other. But if a man doesn't want to have children and a woman does, to give you an example, I thought there was a question in here about my recent breakup. I guess I didn't include it. But why the hell not? Let's dive into Alf's personal life. So my recent breakup with the person I was dating, he did not want to have children. Absolutely did not want to have kids. And for me, I've always been like a little bit like impartial. I'm like, I could live without them, albeit I could also have a boy named Alpheus and be perfectly happy. But so my point here is that with that person at that time, even if there's a part of me that wanted to have kids, I loved him enough that I was willing to give that up. If it meant that me and him could have a happy, successful, healthy long-term relationship with each other, then you know what? I could forgo it and be happy. If I had him, it didn't matter. So I think that in the case of two people who love each other enough, if one of them really doesn't want something and the other like kind of wants it, I think it's like, well, what do you want more? It's like, do you want kids more or do you want the person you have more? Which thing are you willing to let go? Or can this be negotiated somehow? You know? So I don't think it's the end of the world. I mean, if you have to move on to get what you want, then you have to move on to get what you want. But if you don't want to move on to get what if like, you know what I mean? If what you want is the person, then love the person. It's only so often that you find someone that you have that, you know, thing with. So, yeah, negotiate with each other or move on. That's my thing. Number 17. Are you part of the gay? No, I'm not a lesbian, thank you. I mean, I have nothing against lesbians, but I'm not a part of the gay, as you say. And, stop saying I look like Ellen Page. It makes me want to kill myself. Like, God, I can't think of a worse looking celebrity. Please, like, you know, leave me alone. It's like I have enough existential dread in my life. I don't need people telling me I look like Ellen Page. For the love of God. Seriously, fuck off. Number 18. Who is your favorite philosopher and why? My favorite philosopher is George Wilhelm Friedrich Hegel, because of the Encyclopedia Logic and his discussions about dialectic and sublation, and also various parts of the phenomenology of spirit. And, you know, I mean, he's an idealist, and I'm not an idealist, but goddamn, I just, you know, right here, honey, that's Hegel. Alright. Number 19. Do you think there should be equality between men and women or equity? Why and how could it be achieved in your opinion? I think that there will never be equality between men and women because I don't think the two are equal to each other. I mean, I think historically, on average, they haven't been equal to each other in either achievements or anything else. However, I do think that they should have the equal opportunity to achieve the same things. And there have been minorities, crossovers, where women have been comparable to men in some fields. You know what I mean? I mean, it's a hard truth. If you would have told me that when I was 16, I would have been like, shut the fuck up, you don't know what you're saying. I'm a dumb 16-year-old. But no, the truth is that I just, you know, equal opportunity, let's see how people excel when given that opportunity. That's it. Cheers. Number 20. What is your stance on different forms of nationalism? Well, I'm not a nationalist scholar, so I don't know all that much about nationalism. I mean, we've got, like, our racist white nationalism. I don't know if that's racist or just preference, but, like, in terms of just, like, being proud of where you're from, I don't think there's anything wrong with that at all. Like, you know what? I'm damn happy to live in Canada, and I really wouldn't want to live anywhere else in the world. Like, despite what problems we have, socially and politically, whatever, I love Canada, and I'm damn happy to be a Canadian, so fucking A. Number 21. What do you think about the future of society once we have cheap, realistic sex robots? I mean, personally, would I really want to have sex with a sex robot? You can think maybe I'm just saying this now, but no, I don't think I would have sex with a sex robot. I think I am someone who would always prefer, you know, like a warm, nice human being, equal, like we'll live together and we'll die together, honey. But I do think that it's a great thing that we'll have those things, because I think there are a lot of people out there who, fuck it, maybe I'll be one of them actually, who just won't find anybody who wants to have sex with them, or like anybody who wants to have a relationship with them. And I think like that's a very important part of being human, is that we want sex, we want affection, we want love, we want to be touched, we want to feel warmth, we want to feel desire for others, we want others to feel desire for us. And you know what, for all those people who maybe don't feel that or don't have an opportunity to feel that, I don't know, I think it's a good thing. I think it's a good thing for those who need it. I don't think that people who just want it and don't need it should do it. You know what I mean? I mean, everybody's free to do whatever the hell you want, but I don't know. For me, am I gonna fuck a robot? Only if I can't find a boyfriend. But should you fuck a robot? Only if you can't find a significant other. Okay, let's continue. 22. I have a question. Would you ever consider writing a novel, or rather perhaps a collection of essays? I don't think I would ever consider writing a fictional novel, just not really my territory. A collection of essays, yes, and I've actually have been writing, like, not, I don't know if I'd ever put it out into the world, but just like a fuck it, what do I say it is, like a reflection of my own troubling life experiences, like just to sort of like work stuff out for myself and like, I don't know, just try to understand myself better and the things that made me how I am. I don't know if I'd ever put that out into the world, because that's some pretty dark stuff. I mean, maybe, I don't know. Number 23. I just came out of a long, extremely drawn out, emotionally abusive relationship that has completely broken me. Any advice on how to put myself back together? Well, all I can say about this is that I can deeply relate to you, because the relationship that I have come out of a while ago was similar. Lots of threats, lots of stuff that makes me very wary to discuss any of it in public. And I think that you've already reached the first step, and that is getting out of it. Getting out of it. Like, it's hard to get out of stuff like that, especially when you really think you love the person and think that it's redeeming. You know what I mean? I think both sides of those kinds of relationships are usually guilty in some capacity. Even if just like harming yourself, you're guilty, or also contributing to the other person's like fuel to their fire. I know I was. But like I said, the first good thing you've done, or how you can put yourself back together again, is you've already taken the first step, and you don't even realize it, and that is getting out of it. And I don't think there's any like fast, quick answer to how you're gonna fix yourself. It's just a matter of time healing and separation, or time healing you through separation from that person. I mean, you have to know that hopefully you're not the kind of person that deserves to be in an emotionally abusive relationship, or just a bad relationship, or a shit relationship, or a person who doesn't accept you, or, you know, make you feel good about yourself, or make you feel happy. I mean, and even if you are the kind of person who deserves that kind of shit, then maybe you should take this time to work on yourself. I don't know. All I can really say here, through my wine, is that I feel you, and you've already taken the first step, as have I, and you just gotta let time do its work. You've gotta just turn into yourself, focus on yourself, and hopefully in doing that, time will heal your wounds, and you will move on, and if anything, you'll have a better body of knowledge for what to avoid in the future. You know what I mean? What to steer clear from. You've seen the red flags. Chances are you ignored them for a long time. Welcome to the fucking club. So, yes. You're gonna be okay. Whoever you are out there, you're gonna be just fine. And I am proud of you for taking the first step. And bet you better be proud of me too. Here we go. Okay, number 24. I'm applying for professor jobs, and every single job description asks me to write a statement on inclusivity and diversity. It seems like a no-brainer to welcome anyone who is interested in learning about a certain field to do so. How would you approach answering or speaking to this request? It just feels like they have to ask this of applicants to comply with inclusivity and diversity boards of the university. I would speak to ideological diversity, but I get the sense that's what they don't care about, or that they don't care about that. I think you're spot on already. The answer is that all universities now have these requirements, to my knowledge, of inclusivity and diversity, and that you need to make clear your position that you respect equally and will include equally people from all backgrounds. So although you may want to write about ideological diversity, as you said, that's not what they're looking for. You can mention that in your letter, but I think your safest bet is to write what they want to hear. Okay? Even if you think that, employment equity legislation and, oh my god, what's it called in the US? I can't remember what it's called in the US. Like when they have to hire certain amounts of different races for different positions to fill, like, quotas. It's a little absurd. I mean, I get where they're coming from, but that's not necessarily a great idea in my eyes. But when it comes to your well-being, your means of your livelihood, you need to do what you need to do, and you need to say what you need to say to get what you need and to establish yourself. And once you're established, honey, once you're tenure, that's when you can start talking about ideological diversity. But for now, I think you know what they're looking for by the sounds of it, and you know what you need to say, and that's what you need to say to get what you want. So I'm a fake it till you are it kind of person. Once you've got it, then you can, fucking do it. Again, excuse my language. Okay, here we go. Oh my god, I almost dropped it. I'm done, honey. I need to drink this water. Number 25. We've only got this as the third to last. Where does your self-worth come from? Where should one's self-worth come from? I think your self-worth comes from something I will admit I did not have for a very long time in my adolescence. I think self-worth comes from building yourself, a self to you that is worthy to yourself, by doing the things you think you ought to do, by taking the steps to become the person that you wish to be. That, I believe, is from what your self-worth can be founded, is from developing yourself, from meeting your potential, and thinking in your own eyes that you are developing yourself and meeting your own potential. And I think from that you can ground worth in yourself, because you'll actually see worth in yourself. Because if you have nothing to view as worthy, then why the hell would you have self-worth? You've got to build that. You've got to work for that. Go watch some Jordan Peterson and come back to me. Okay, 26. What would you have told an 18-year-old version of yourself? Do everything. Do everything. In the words of, the Magic School Bus, take chances, get messy, make mistakes, live your goddamn life. You're only gonna be 18 one time. You will never have an opportunity to be 18 again. Those last years of your teenage years, live to the fullest. Do everything you could possibly do. Make the most of it, while at the same time making a plan for yourself for the future. You know what I mean? Figure out how to love and accept yourself. Plan out what is a person for you to be, who you're gonna love and respect and be happy being for the rest of your life. And also, don't make the mistake when you're 18 of thinking you're gonna be the same person forever. I mean, one thing that I fucking wish, I'm swearing like a chimenea up in here, is that I got a bunch of tattoos when I was 16, 17, 18. And the thing I thought when I was that age is that, I'm the same person forever. I'm gonna have all the same interests. I'm gonna be, gonna be me forever. I'm never gonna change. Fucking idiot. Stupid little kid. Don't know shit. That's what I'd say to myself. Don't make decisions that'll follow you forever when you're not young enough to even know who you're gonna be forever. You know what I mean? That's the time to build yourself. Don't do anything rash. Don't do anything that's gonna mark you for the rest of your life when you're that young. You know what I mean? You're figuring out who you're going to be. You're not who you're going to be yet. Okay? That's some deep shit, and welcome to why Elsvoid always wears long sleeves. I'm just kidding. I can deal with it. I don't hate my tattoos, I can live with them. I just, like, it's whatever. It is what it is. Deserve what I've got. And the last question. You bitches ready? I am vulgar. Is this apparent in this video when I drank alcohol? I've just got like a sailor's mouth. Okay. Anyways, last question. What is Elf's void? Elf, ALF are my initials. Void is essentially what I think of, I don't know. How do I put this? How do I explain this to human beings other than myself? I am Elf. Elf is my initials. And void is essentially my existence, or perhaps what I've utilized my YouTube to fill within my existence, and that is the emptiness, the pointlessness, the lack of meaning, the like, what are you supposed to do? It's just, here's existence and here you are and there you go. It's just both everything and nothing. I don't even know how to articulate it. One person asked me if the void was a reference to Sartre or Sartre or however the hell you want to say it, and no. I've only read Sartre's plays. I haven't read Being a Nothingness yet, but stay tuned, bitches, we're gonna read it. The void is just a reference to my attempts to fill my reality with something more meaningful than what I hitherto have done. And I don't know, are we successful yet? Am I fulfilled? I don't know. But this channel is called Elf's Void because that's exactly what it is. It's the filling of my own void. So I hope that I wasn't too, unbearable, half drunk with this red wine. This was a very bad idea. Fucking knocking over the tripod. Here we go. It's all over for me now. It's goodbye 60k subscribers. We're going back to 14k. I should have just had one glass, so let's see how editing goes. Okay, bye.